My name is Jessica. I am 27 years old. I want to tell you about my brother Sammy. He was 2 years older than me, and I loved him very much, but Sammy had a problem that he could not escape. He smoked cigarettes every single day, and he could not stop. I remember when he first started. He was 19 years old then. He thought it was cool to smoke with his friends. At first, he only smoked one or two cigarettes at a party, but soon he smoked every morning, every afternoon, and every night. Our parents told him to stop, but he did not listen. He said he was fine, but I could see he was not. When Sammy was 25, he already smoked for many years. His hands smelled of smoke, his clothes smelled of smoke, and even his hair smelled of smoke. He often coughed, and sometimes he looked pale. I worried about him every day. I asked him to stop, but he only smiled and said, "I will quit soon." But soon never came. Sammy tried many times to quit. He tried chewing gum. He tried drinking coffee instead. He even tried eating candy when he wanted a cigarette. But nothing worked. After a few hours, he always wanted another smoke. I saw the sadness on his face when he failed again. He wanted to be free, but the habit was too strong. As his 30th birthday came closer, Sammy became more serious. He told me one evening, "Jessica, I do not want to smoke when I turn 30. I want a new life." His eyes looked tired but full of hope. I wanted to believe him, but deep inside, I was not sure. He had promised many times before, and each time he failed. Then one morning, Sammy came to me with a strange idea. "I will go to a small island," he said. "No shops, no people, no cigarettes. I will stay there until the poison leaves my body. If I cannot buy or see cigarettes, I will be free." His words surprised me. I had never heard of such a plan. "Are you serious?" I asked. He nodded. "Yes, I will go next week. I found a place near the Canadian border. It is quiet. It is empty. It is perfect." I felt nervous. "But what if something happens to you? What if you need help?" He laughed a little. "Don't worry, Claire. I will take food, water, and clothes. I will be fine. It is only for 7 days." I looked at him and wanted to stop him, but I also knew he was serious. Maybe this was his last chance. A week later, I stood on the small dock. With him, he had a backpack, a tent, and a few bags of food. A man with a small boat agreed to take him to one of the little islands. I held his arm before he left. "Please, Sammy, promise me you will be careful." He smiled at me. "I promise. When I come back, I will be smoke-free." I watched the boat move away until it was small, like a toy on the water. My heart felt heavy. I wanted to believe him, but I was afraid. Sammy arrived on the H island that same afternoon. He later told me everything that happened there. The island was small with trees, rocks, and one cave. The air was clean and fresh, and the water of the lake around it was blue. Sammy stood on the sand, opened backpack, and took out his last pack of cigarettes. He looked at it for a long time. Then he threw it into the bushes. "Goodbye," he whispered. At that moment, he felt strong. The first day was not too hard. He made a small camp, ate some bread and fruit, and drank water. He told himself he could do it. He walked around the island, listened to the birds, and tried to enjoy the quiet. But when the evening came, he thought about smoking. His hands felt empty. He could not sleep well. Still, he stayed strong. The second day was worse. He woke up with a dry mouth and a heavy head. He wanted a cigarette so much that he could almost taste it. He walked to the bushes and looked at the pack he threw away, but he did not touch it. No, he told himself, I can do this. He ate some bread and tried to drink tea. The day was long and slow. He watched the water, he walked in circles, and he counted the hours. By the third day, Sammy felt very bored. He had no books, no music, no phone signal. He only had the water, the trees, and the sky. He sat by the shore and threw small stones into the lake. He thought about me, about our parents, about his life. He thought about all the times he promised to stop smoking and failed. He told himself this time would be different. But then something strange happened. He walked near the bushes and found a bottle. It was almost full of whiskey. He held it in his hands and laughed. What is this doing here? He thought. He had no cigarettes, no friends, no games. He was alone and bored. Maybe just a little drink, he told himself. And so he opened the bottle and drank. At first, the whiskey made him feel warm and light. He forgot about his hunger and his boredom. He sat on the sand, closed his eyes, and listened to the wind, but then he heard something else. It was music. Faint, soft music coming from the trees. He thought maybe he was dreaming, but the sound grew stronger. A slow tune, an old song. He stood up and followed the sound. To his surprise, he found an old man sitting in front of a cave. The man wore simple clothes, and in his hand was a cigar. Next to him was a small radio playing the music. Sammy froze. He thought the island was empty, but now here was someone else. Sammy asked, "What are you doing here?" The old man turned and looked at him with the same surprise. He took the cigar from his lips and said, "I came here to give up alcohol. And you?" Sammy held the bottle in his hand and felt a little ashamed. "I came to quit smoking," he said. The old man looked at the bottle and smiled. "And I think that bottle is mine." Sammy looked down, "And I think that pack of cigarettes in the bushes is mine," he said quietly. The old man laughed. "Then maybe we can make a trade." Before I continue my story, please subscribe, share, and tell me where you are listening from. Your support means a lot to me. Now let's continue. Sammy told me that moment was both funny and sad. He stood in front of the old man holding the whiskey bottle while the man smoked his cigar. They looked at each other for a long time. Then the man said again, "Yes, that bottle is mine. I hid it here when I came. I wanted to forget it. But now it is in your hand. Maybe it is not so easy to forget what we love." Sammy gave him the bottle. "Here. Take it back." "I don't want it." The man smiled and took a drink. Then Sammy asked, "Do you still have my cigarettes?" The old man's face grew serious. So you also could not forget. I thought you were here to quit." Sammy felt ashamed, but he was also honest. "Yes. I want to quit, but it is so hard. I feel crazy without them." The man nodded slowly. "It is the same for me with alcohol. I want to stop, but when I smell it, when I see it, I want it again." He took another drink, then looked at Sammy. "We are the same, you and I. We want to stop, but we cannot." They sat together outside the cave. The radio played old songs and the smoke from the man's cigar filled the air. Sammy told him his story. He told him how he started smoking when he was 19. He told him about all the times he tried to stop. He told him about me and how I always worried for him. The old man listened. Then he spoke about his own life. He said his name was Robert. He was 60 years old. For many years, he drank alcohol every day. He lost his wife, he lost his friends, and he lost his job because of it. He came to the island because he wanted one last chance to stop. But when he found the whiskey bottle, he failed again. Sammy felt sad listening to him. He thought, is this my future? If I cannot quit, will I be like him one day? He wanted to be strong. He wanted to stand up and walk away. But the smell of the cigar was too strong. His body wanted it. His mind wanted it. He looked at Robert and whispered, "Please, can I have just one cigarette?" Robert looked at the bottle, then at Sammy. He raised his eyebrow and said, "If you give me the whiskey, I will give you the cigarettes." Sammy hesitated. He knew it was wrong. He came here to quit, not to smoke again. But his hands shook, his mouth felt dry, and his head hurt. He wanted the smoke more than anything. Finally, he gave the bottle back to Robert. The old man smiled, reached into the cave, and brought out the pack of cigarettes. Sammy held the pack as if it was gold. He took out one cigarette, put it to his lips and lit it. The first breath felt heavy and sharp, but then it made him calm. He closed his eyes and sighed. At last, he thought, Robert drank from the bottle and laughed. So here we are. You with your smoke, me with my drink. We both failed. Sammy laughed too, but his laugh was weak. He knew it was true. The days passed like this. Sammy stayed on the island with Robert. In the morning, Robert played music on his radio. He smoked his cigar and drank. Sammy smoked his cigarettes and tried not to think about his failure. Sometimes they talked about their lives. Sometimes they sat in silence. The island was quiet, but their habits made it loud inside their heads. I still remember waiting at home. I counted the days. I told myself that Sammy was strong, that he would come back without cigarettes. Every day I looked at the calendar. Every night I thought of him alone on the island, fighting his body and mind. I prayed that he would succeed this time. On the 6th day, the boatman returned to the island to pick Sammy up. Sammy put out his last cigarette, packed his things, and walked to the shore. Robert stood beside him. The old man looked tired and weak, but there was a strange smile on his face. He said, "Maybe next time we will succeed." Sammy did not answer. He only looked down. When the boat came back to the dock, I ran to meet him. I wanted to hug him, but I smelled the smoke before I even reached him. My heart sank. I looked at his face and I knew he had failed again. His eyes did not shine with victory. They looked heavy like stones. "Sammy," I whispered, "you smoked again, didn't you?" He looked at me and said nothing. That silence told me everything. We walked home together. I wanted to be angry, but I could not. He was my brother. I loved him. I only felt sad. He told me everything that happened on the island. He told me about Robert, the cave, the radio, the whiskey, and the cigarettes. When he finished, he looked at me and said, "Jessica, I am weak. I don't know if I can ever stop." I wanted to tell him he was not weak, that he could change. But the truth was in front of me. He had tried many times and he failed. Many times. He wanted freedom, but he could not hold it. That night, Sammy sat outside our house. He smoked and looked at the sky. I watched him from the window. I felt tears in my eyes, but I wiped them away. I wanted to be strong for him, even if he was not strong for himself. The next morning he came to me and said, "Jessica, I will try again. I cannot give up." His voice was soft, almost like a child. I looked at him and smiled, but inside, my heart was heavy. I did not know if he would really try again or if he was only saying it to make me feel better. Still, I held on to hope. I had to. He was my brother, and I could not stop loving him. The days after Sammy came back felt heavy. I watched him light one cigarette after another, and each time I felt pain in my heart. I wanted to take the pack from his hand and throw it away, but I knew it would not help. He had to make that choice himself. Sometimes I remembered when we were children. Sammy was always full of energy. He played football in the yard. He ran faster than anyone at school, and he laughed with all his friends. He dreamed of traveling, of seeing new cities, of living a big life. I never imagined that years later he would be chained to a small white stick of smoke. Our parents also saw his struggle. My mother cried in the kitchen when she thought no one was watching. My father grew quiet, speaking less and less when Sammy was near. They loved him, but they felt powerless. They asked him many times to see a doctor, but he refused. He always said, "I can quit by myself." But he never could. One evening, about a week after his return from the island, Sammy came to my room. He sat on the edge of my bed holding a cigarette between his fingers. His eyes looked tired, but there was also shame in them. "Claire," he said softly, "do you think I am a bad person?" The question broke my heart. "No, Sammy," I said quickly, "you are not bad. You are my brother. You are kind, you are smart, you are loved. But this habit is bigger than you, and you cannot fight it alone." He stayed silent for a moment, then whispered, "I thought the island would save me. I thought I was strong enough. But when I found the old man, when I smelled the smoke, it was over. I felt weak. I hate myself for it." I held his hand. "You are not alone, Sammy. You failed." "Yes, but failure does not mean the end. It means you must try again." He looked at me with sad eyes. "But what if I always fail? What if I never quit?" I did not know what to say. I wanted to promise him that he would succeed one day, but I could not. I had seen him try so many times. Instead, I said, "I will stand with you. No matter what, even if you fail 100 times, I will still love you." That night, I could not sleep. I lay awake thinking about him, about Robert, about the island, about all the lost years. I wondered how many people in the world fought the same fight every day and lost. I wondered how much pain one habit could bring into a family. The next morning, Sammy told me he would look for a treatment program. He said, "Maybe I cannot do it alone. Maybe I need help." His words gave me hope. But later, I saw him smoking again in the backyard. I realized he was still not ready. His mind wanted to stop, but his body did not let him. Weeks passed. Nothing changed. He smoked when he woke up. He smoked after meals. He smoked before bed. I tried not to say much anymore because he already knew. He knew he was trapped. One Sunday afternoon, we sat together in the living room. The window was open and fresh air came inside. Sammy held his cigarette, but he did not light it. He looked outside and said, "Jessica, I wonder if my life will always be like this. Smoke, cough, try, fail, repeat. Is this my whole story?" I wanted to tell him no, but I stayed quiet. I knew only he could write the next part of his story. I could not write it for him. Then he told me something that made me cry. Do you know, Claire, when I sat with Robert on that island, I saw my future. He was old, alone, and broken. He had nothing left but a bottle and a cigar. And I thought, if I do not change, I will become him. I will waste my whole life, but still, even with that fear. I lit the cigarette. I could not stop myself. He put the cigarette back in the pack and sighed. I hate this, Jessica, I hate it so much. That night when I went to bed, I whispered to myself, please let him find strength one day, years later. When I look back, I still see the boy he once was. I see his smile, his dreams, his bright eyes. But I also see the man who could not escape his habit. He tried many times, but each time he failed. Telling you this story now is not easy. It hurts to speak of it, but I want people to know what I saw. Addiction is not simple. It is not only smoke or drink. It is a chain around the heart and mind. It pulls, and it pulls until the person cannot move. Sammy was not a bad person. He was my brother. He was loved, but he was not free. He never truly was. And that is why I still hope even now. I hope one day he will stand up, look at the smoke in his hand, and say, no more. I hope he will be free before it is too late, because he is my brother. And I will always believe in him even when he cannot believe in himself. Thank you for listening to my story. If you felt my pain and my love for my brother, please support me like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to my channel. Your support means so much. It gives me the strength to tell more stories.